Hello everyone, this is a recording of my session I have presented at Omaha Azure User Group on January 22nd, 2020. I felt this topic will be helpful to not only to Omaha community, but to anyone in the global Azure family who is planning to take an Azure role-based certification. The title for my talk is Accelerate Your IT Career with Azure Role-Based Certifications. A quick recap on Omaha Azure User Group. We are a thriving community with over 500 people in our meetup group. We are officially a part of Azure Tech community. We have recently launched our website omahaaug.com. We have a Slack workspace for real-time communication between the members, and we are also present on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is omahaaug. If you have any questions regarding the user group, please reach out on email info@omahaaug.com. A quick intro of me. I have over 13 years of experience in designing and developing enterprise-class distributed systems. I am a Microsoft Certified Azure Solutions Architect, and I hold few other certifications. I am working for Kivit as a Cloud Architect, and I am based out of Omaha, Nebraska. I am a regular speaker at local user groups, and I blog at webofgujral.com. My Twitter handle is webgujral, and you can reach me on my email gujral.webhub@gmail.com. Let's go through the agenda for this talk. In this talk, I am going to cover the new Azure role-based certification paths, the new Azure role-based certifications, the different exams that come under each of those certifications, how can one register for exams, what are the different exam delivery options, how is the exam structured, and how is an exam scored. Then we'll see how to download your badges, certificates, and transcripts. Then we'll touch upon how to get started with your preparation. I will share some learning resources. I'll share some do's and don'ts and tips. Finally, I will conclude with the benefits that you can get out of earning and certification. Before we kick off, let's set the expectations for this talk. In this talk, we'll touch base on different certification paths and various certification exams without going deep into any certification in particular. The intent is to provide motivation and resources to get started with your preparation for Azure role-based certifications. If you need any guidance on your certification preparation, reach out to me offline on my email or on my Twitter handle. Let's talk about the history of Microsoft Azure certifications. Somewhere between 2010 to 2015, Microsoft introduced a set of certifications for Azure professionals, which were called Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert or Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate, MCSE and MCSA. If you remember those two badges, you understand what I'm speaking of. During that time, Microsoft has identified three different roles for Azure professionals, namely developers, administrators, and solution architects, and Microsoft has launched three different certifications for each of those job roles. The first one was Developing Microsoft Azure Solutions, which covered the exam 7532. The second one was Implementing Microsoft Azure Infrastructure Solutions, which was intended for administrators, and it covered the exam 533. The last one was Architecting Microsoft Azure Solutions, which was intended for solution architects, and originally the exam was 7534, and later they introduced a new exam 7535. Let's jump onto the new Azure role-based certifications. After having the MCSE and MCSA certifications for some time, Microsoft has identified that Azure professionals have different variety of roles which doesn't necessarily falls under a developer, administrator, and solution architect. To fulfill that, Microsoft introduced new job roles, namely Azure Administrator, Azure Developer, Azure Security Engineer, Azure AI Engineer, Azure Data Engineer, Azure Data Scientist, Azure Devops Engineer, Azure Solutions Architect. For each of these job roles, Microsoft has introduced certifications which comes with an expiry date of 2 years. Apart from these job role-based certifications, there is also an Azure Fundamentals certification, which is intended for non-technical people or people with technical background who want to validate their cloud foundational knowledge. The stars that you are seeing in each of those badges indicate the certification path. Microsoft has come up with 4 different certification paths to classify each of the job role-based certification. The basic one is fundamental, which is ideal for beginners who are starting in technology or are looking for career change. Technical professionals who are also planning to validate their cloud foundational knowledge can also appear for fundamental exams. Associates is intended for people who have 2 years of comprehensive working experience in Azure-based solutions. Expert is someone who has 2 to 5 years of deep technical experience in Azure-based solutions. Recently, Microsoft has also introduced Speciality certification paths, which is for people having experience in specialized services like IoT and SAP in Azure. So on the left side, you can see the Fundamentals certification, Microsoft Certified Azure Fundamentals. The point to be noted here is this is an optional certification and it's not a prerequisite for any of the other role-based certifications. In the center pillar, you can see the role-based certifications classified between associate or expert level. Under Associate, they have Azure Administrator Associate, Azure Developer Associate, Azure Security Engineer Associate, whereas under Expert, they have Azure DevOps Engineer Expert and Azure Solution Architect Expert. On the very right hand, you can see the Specialty certifications for IoT developers and Azure for SAP Workload Speciality. For the data engineers and data architects, at the associate level, the certification is Azure Data Scientist Associate, Azure Data Engineer Associate, and Azure AI Engineer Associate. In the coming slides, we'll touch upon each of these certifications and the exams that are required to earn these certifications. Let's start with the Fundamentals certification. As part of Fundamental certification, the candidate is required to demonstrate foundational level knowledge of cloud services and how those services are provided with Microsoft Azure. As I was mentioning before, it is intended for candidates with non-technical background or candidates with a technical background who have a need to validate their foundational level knowledge around cloud services. To earn this certification, the candidate has to clear an exam AZ900, which is Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. This is a very basic exam which covers cloud concepts like IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, and different benefits that we get out of cloud computing. It also covers the core Azure services like compute, storage, networking, and the different services under each of those pillars. As part of this exam, the candidate is also expected to understand security, privacy, compliance, and trust features in Azure. Finally, the exam also covers Azure pricing and support model. The point to be noted here is that this is an optional exam and it is not a prerequisite for any other Azure role-based certifications. Jumping onto associate certifications, there are 6 different certifications that fall under associate certifications, ranging from Azure Administrator, Azure Developer, Azure Security Engineer, Azure AI Engineer, Azure Data Scientist, and Azure Data Engineer. Let's start with Azure Administrator Associate, which requires an exam AZ103. It's intended for Azure administrators who implement, monitor, and maintain Azure solutions. There are different skills which are measured as part of this exam, which ranges from managing Azure subscriptions and resources using ARM templates, implementing and managing storage, deploying and managing virtual machines, configuring and managing virtual networks, managing identities using Azure Active Directory, and so on. Jumping onto Azure Developer Associate, it requires an exam AZ203 and it's intended for Azure developers who design, build, test, and maintain cloud solutions. In this exam, the skills measured are developing Azure IaaS compute solution, developing Azure PaaS compute solutions, developing for Azure storage, implementing Azure security, monitoring, troubleshooting, and optimizing solutions, connecting to and consuming Azure and third-party services. Azure Security Engineer Associate exam requires AZ500 exam, which is Microsoft Azure Security Technologies. It's intended for security engineers who implement security controls and threat protection, manage identity and access, and protect data, applications, and network in cloud and hybrid environments. Some of the skills that this exam measures include managing identity and access, implementing platform protection, managing security operations, and securing data and applications. Azure AI Engineer Associate certification requires AI 100 exam, which is designing and implementing an Azure AI solution. This is intended for AI engineers who use cognitive services, machine learning, and knowledge mining to architect and implement Microsoft AI solutions involving natural language processing, speech, computer vision, bots, and agents. The skills measured as part of this exam include analyzing solution requirements, designing AI solutions, implementing and monitoring AI solutions. Azure Data Scientist Associate certification requires a single exam, DP100, which is designing and implementing a data science solution on Azure. This is intended for data scientists who apply Azure's machine learning techniques to train, evaluate, and deploy models that solve business problems. The skills measured as part of this exams include defining and preparing the development environment, preparing data for modeling, perform feature engineering, and developing models. Azure Data Engineer Associate certification requires the candidate to clear two exams, DP200 and DP201. DP200 is implementing an Azure data solution, and DP201 is designing an Azure data solution. It is intended for data engineers who design and implement the management, monitoring, security, and privacy of data using the full stack of Azure data services to satisfy business needs. As part of the Azure Data Engineer Associate, the skills that are measured include implementing data storage solutions, managing and developing data processing, monitoring and optimizing data solutions, designing Azure data storage solutions, designing data processing solutions, designing for data security and compliance. Coming to expert certifications, there are two expert level certifications. One is for Solution Architect Expert and the second one is Devops Engineer Expert. Starting with the Solution Architect Expert, this certification requires the candidate to clear two exams, AZ300 and AZ301. AZ300 is Microsoft Azure Architect Technologies. AZ301 is Microsoft Azure Architect Design. This certification is intended for solution architects who have expertise in compute, network, storage, and security so that they can design solutions that run on Azure. This certification covers a lot. The skills measured as part of this certification includes deploying and configuring infrastructure, implementing workloads and security, creating and deploying apps, implementing authentication and security data, developing for the cloud and for the Azure storage, determining workload requirements, designing for identity and security, designing a data platform solution, designing a business continuity strategy, designing for deployment, migration, and integration, and designing an infrastructure strategy. Jumping onto Azure DevOps Engineer Expert, this certification can be earned by clearing an exam AZ400, but AZ400 has prerequisites. As part of that, you have to either clear AZ103 or AZ203 to be eligible for AZ400. It is intended for DevOps professionals who combine people, processes, and technologies to continuously deliver valuable products and services that meet end user needs and business objectives. Some of the skills that are measured include designing a DevOps strategy, implementing DevOps development processes, implementing CI/CD, implementing dependency management, implementing application infrastructure, and implementing continuous feedback. Past week, Microsoft has announced upcoming changes in Azure certifications, which are listed here. AZ-103 exam is expected to be replaced by exam AZ-104. AZ-203 will be replaced by AZ-204. AZ-300 will be replaced by AZ-303. AZ-301 will be replaced by AZ-304. AI-100 will be replaced by AI-102. Microsoft has recently launched a couple of specialty certification exams, one for professionals who are supporting SAP workloads running on Azure and the other one for IoT developers. Under the SAP certification, the exam is AZ-120, and under IoT developer, the exam is AZ-220. Both of these exams are beta exams right now. Once you have identified the role-based certification based on your past role and work experience, the next step is to schedule an exam. For that, head to the web page for the exam that you are interested in and click on the Schedule Exam button under the exam title. Once you click on the Schedule Exam button, it will take you to a page to ask for the basic details like name and address, and then it will take you to a next page to choose an exam delivery option. There are 4 different options available. The first one is at a local test center, which is a public institution available for delivering your exam. In the United States, it's Pearson VUE. The second option is to conveniently take an exam in the comfort of your home or office. It is known as online proctored exams. The third option, if you have been invited to test with your teacher or proctor in their Certiport test center, please choose this option. For some exams, you are required to have a private access code to register. If you have a private access code, choose the fourth option and enter the private access code in the field provided. All the certification exams range from $99 to $165 and comes with a single attempt, meaning if you are not able to clear the exam in one attempt, you will lose your money. Just in case, if you are not confident of clearing the exam in single attempt, your best bet is to go with exam replay bundles, which gives you a second attempt as well. You can also buy one practice test as part of the bundle. Most of the vouchers under these bundles come with 12-month validity, but it is important to check the validity before you buy the bundle. Another thing to note here is that if you buy an exam replay bundle and clear the exam in the first attempt, you cannot use the second attempt for a different exam. Speaking of the exam structure, all the exams are time-bound, ranging from 90 minutes to 210 minutes. This time includes the time needed for registration as well as the actual exam time. Speaking of the questions, there could be a combination of question types ranging from multiple choice questions with one or more correct answer, drag and drop code snippets, live labs based questions where they give 10 to 15 tasks that need to be performed in Azure Portal or Cloud Shell, case studies based questions where they give a case study and present questions based on that, plain true false questions. The point to be noted here is that some of these questions can be marked for review so that you can revisit them later before the submission of this section. Total number of questions may differ for each exam. It might range somewhere from 35-40 to up to 75. Most of these certification exams follow a 2-month revision cycle, meaning Microsoft revises the question sets for these certification exams every 2 months. Coming to scoring of these exams, minimum passing score needed for each of these exams is 700. There is no negative marking, and most of the questions have partial scoring, meaning out of the 3 correct options, if you opt for 2 correct and 1 incorrect option, you get score for the 2 correct options and nothing is deducted for the incorrect one. What it translates into is that you should attempt all the questions and you should not leave any question unanswered. You receive the result immediately at the end of the exam. Microsoft uses an algorithm which is dependent on the difficulty level of the questions in each of these exams. Therefore, number of correct questions you need to pass differ for every exam. Whenever Microsoft launches a new exam, they launch it as a beta exam, which is generally available at a discounted price. It is available to first 300-400 candidates. The point to be noted here is that results are not shared immediately for the beta exams, and it generally takes 4 to 6 weeks of time to get the results. Once you clear the exam, there is no need to take the exam again till the time the result is valid. Generally, the expiry date is similar to the actual exam. Once your exam is over, you get a score sheet showing your result, whether you passed or failed the exam, showing the score that you received in your exam, and also showing the performance by each exam section. You can also log in into your Microsoft certification dashboard to find everything related to your active and past certifications and certification exams. Once you log in into the dashboard, you can find the upcoming appointments that you have scheduled for the certification exams. You can download badges, certificates, and transcript from the learning dashboard as well. When you go into the badges section, it allows you to download all the digital badges for the certifications that you have earned. Microsoft has partnered with Acclaim, which provides a validated credential for your earned certifications, and you can download a digital badge which you can share on social media, embed in your website or your blog. You can download and add it in your resume, or you can email your peers. You can also download the certificates for the certifications that you have earned in digital PDF format. You can also download transcripts showing all the certification exams that you have cleared in the past. Now let's talk about how to get started with your certification preparation. The first step is to identify a certification based on your job role and past work experience. For example, if you are an administrator who administers Azure-based workloads, probably Azure Administrator Associate certification is the right choice for you. If you haven't worked with Azure before and are planning for an Azure certification, then you should get yourself an Azure subscription. Once you have identified the certification exam you want to appear for, you should walk through the exam objectives thoroughly, which are provided on the exam web page. Next, identify the study resources that you are going to use for your preparation. Finally, create a plan and put a target date when you want to appear for your certification. I would like to thank Tim Warner, who is an Azure MVP and Pluralsight author, who has allowed me to use this picture in my presentation. Earning an Azure role-based certification is not easy, and preparing for a certification has 3 dimensions. First and foremost, the candidate needs to have deep knowledge of the concepts that are evaluated in a certification exam. Not only theoretical knowledge, the candidate also needs to have practical working experience in the concepts that are evaluated in the exam. On top of the knowledge and experience, a candidate should plan a test-taking strategy considering the different aspects of an exam like the number of questions, the question types, the total time duration of the exam, and so on. There are a variety of learning resources that you can use for your preparation. Starting with Microsoft Azure documentation, treat it as a source of authority, since it is updated regularly and it gives you first-hand information from Microsoft product teams on different Microsoft Azure services. Coming to Microsoft Learn, it's a fantastic website which provides free of cost content in the form of learning paths which you can use for your certification preparation. There are some exam references published by Microsoft Press which is available on Amazon and leading bookstores including Microsoft Store. There are some study guides published by different authors and publishers which you can also buy on Amazon and leading bookstores. There are some online blogs as well which publish study guides for different certification exams. For a reference, you can check out my blog webofgujral.com. Likewise, there are few other authors who publish study guides on their blogs. You can check it out online. Some people like to read, whereas some people like to learn through video-based tutorials. If you are one of them, then head out to Pluralsight. Even if you don't have a subscription, Microsoft and Pluralsight have an agreement to provide some free content on Pluralsight for Azure. Go ahead and check it out. If you have a Pluralsight subscription, go ahead and check the learning paths for each of the certifications. Personally, I have also used SkillMeUp or Opsgility. They have certification-based learning paths and I have found their courses to be very helpful. There are some courses available on LinkedIn Learning or previously lynda.com. You can also check out Udemy, where you can buy courses starting from $10 up to $100. There is some free content available on Channel 9, where you can learn about different Azure services which will be helpful in your preparation. There are many courses available on YouTube for free which you can check it out. And then there are many other online learning portals like Cloud Academy, Linux Academy, and so on. Let's talk about do's and don'ts. First and foremost, check out Microsoft's exam policies and FAQs before appearing for any exam. As I mentioned before, each exam is time-bound, and some questions might take more time than others, so plan your time well. Mark the questions that you are not sure for review and revisit them later. This is a handy feature you should utilize. When you are preparing for your certification, maintain a journal to take notes so that you can revisit them later. Practice each and every concept that you learn. Buy practice tests which are authorized by Microsoft. As of now, I am only aware of MindHub, which is authorized by Microsoft. Never get tempted to buy and use brain dumps, which are illegal and are not authorized by Microsoft. Finally, share your digital badges with your peer and friends as soon as you pass an exam or earn a certification. It's an accomplishment and you should celebrate. Based on my experience, I can give you some tips for your preparation. First and foremost, nothing can beat your experience. If you have been working on Azure for some time now, you already have an edge. Next comes your hard work. Before you start putting in your hours, it's critical to have an action plan ready with the resources you are going to use for your certification preparation. To prepare an action plan, the first step is to identify the skills that the certification evaluates. You can head out to exam webpage and check out the exam objectives, or you can check some of my blog posts as well. Next, list down the skills that you are strong in and the skills you are not strong. Then prepare an action plan so that you can revise the concepts you already know and you can learn the concepts you don't know or are not comfortable with. Your action plan should include hands-on labs and practice sessions apart from the reading sessions. My recommendation for your lab practice would be to get well versed with Azure Portal, CLI, and PowerShell. For example, if you are practicing creation of virtual machines, try it on Portal with CLI and PowerShell. Go through FAQs provided in Microsoft documentation. I don't want to take credit for this tip. In fact, when I was preparing for my certifications, I got this tip from one of the blogs, which unfortunately I don't remember. But if you will go and check out Microsoft documentation, there is a small section for each of the Azure services on the lower left corner for FAQs. There are some hidden gems under these. Do check it out. Finally, don't look for shortcuts. Depending upon your speed, keep at least 4 weeks of time in your hand before you plan to appear for a certification. Speaking of benefits, certifications help getting hired or promoted by giving you an advantage compared to those who are not certified. Certifications are credentials that helps illustrate your knowledge in a specific technology and bring professional credibility. Certifications also force you to learn technologies and concepts outside your day-to-day project work. Certifications forces you to learn technologies you know already in depth, increasing your efficiency and productivity. Certifications help you keep up to date with the latest technologies. With that, I wrap my presentation. I hope you will find it useful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions around Azure role-based certifications, you can reach out to me through my Twitter handle or through my blog, or you can email me as well.